Welcome back to Hillbilly Storytime, Pentest Fails with me, Adam Compton. Today we're going to be resuming our stories with the guys of Cheap Pentest or Us. It's going to be a nice short one. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, once upon a time, a company, let's call them Acme, contracted Cheap Pentest or Us to perform a internal penetration test. Based on the size and scope of the engagement, our standard 3 sets of idiots were assigned. Charles Ray, the more senior guy, Billy Bob, the middle-of-the-road guy, and John Boy, who is the intern, junior consultant, whatever term you wish to use there. Well, they got started on the engagement. Nothing real bad was happening. Everything was just going as normal. No major issues. They didn't really have access to anything, but everything was going okay. Finally, one of them managed to get a set of credentials off of a box. It happened to be a local administrator account, but it was enough to get started with. They had already had a list of all the systems on the network from doing recon and all that already, but so they took this one set of local administrator credentials, decided to see if it worked on any other systems, and yes, it did. It worked on a lot of systems. Well, then they had their own little script written up. Why they didn't use something that was already prepackaged or whatever, it's up to them, but they had their own little script written up that would log into each one of these systems over WMI, PSExec, something like that, push up a copy of WCE, that's on Windows Credentials Editor or Credential Editor, for those who don't know. You'd push that up, run it, dump any of the passwords off or hashes off, and then it would retrieve it. Well, that was great and all, but the problem was that the customer had some security mechanism in place that when it saw something malicious coming across, for whatever reason, it wouldn't delete the binary that got uploaded, but it would kill any connections associated with it. Okay, that's kind of odd, but the issue arose in that they pushed it all up, they just ran this against every system they could with the local administrator. It logged in, pushed up a WCE, tried to run it, and they instantly lost connection to everything. Well, it didn't just leave it there. Well, then their local antivirus and all that would flag on it and started alerting across the board, like all these systems instantly got infected with some malware, in this case WCE. Customer come running down to them saying, okay, you need to fix this. You said that in the rules of engagement you weren't going to do anything negative or you weren't going to leave anything behind. WCE is installed on all these systems. Please remove it. Well, the team's like, we can't. We don't have access to those systems anymore. And our IPs were blocked, so they ended up having to work around. They got a different IP, found a different account eventually, went in, cleaned it up, but nothing biggie there. They happened to leave a little bit behind. Well, they thought they got them all. Turns out, in the long run, they missed a few systems that were powered off at the time, stuff like that, and at the time they went back to clean up, which came out later on. But for right now, they assumed they had everything cleaned up. Well, that's taken care of, out of the way, so they started going in and exploiting other systems, found a Tomcat service that they could exploit, uploaded a jar file to, MSO8, whatever. They went through the network and started exploiting more and more things, and every time they got onto the system, to ensure that they had their own backdoor onto it, they would create a local account. Okay, that's not uncommon, but they ended up creating dozens and dozens and dozens of accounts on a wide variety of systems. Every once in a while they might have created local account multiple times on the same system due to exploiting it one way to get command shell, one way through like Tomcat, and they ended up making lots of accounts out there. And they also created a couple domain admin accounts, stuff like that. Well, here again, comes back to cleaning up after yourselves. This time they forgot to with all the accounts. It's highly advisable to go and clean up after yourself when you're done, but they didn't. So they wrote the report, sent it off. Customer's very happy with the report itself, but there was a couple things that they didn't like. One was that upon closer examination, some of the systems that they thought they had removed WCE from still had it. Like I said before, probably because they were powered off, something else happened, I don't know, maybe they did it twice, that system, maybe so, I don't know. But they had left a couple copies of WCE out there. Customer already was a little annoyed with that, saying, look, you set off all kind of alarms. which personally, that's part of doing a pen test, not necessarily setting off the alarms, but that is something that can come along with it. You're actually testing their security. But customer wasn't happy with it, and then they're like, you left without cleaning up after yourselves. Team's like, okay, we're sorry. We can tell you how to fix that. But then the customer's like, but then how about all these accounts that you created? In your tech storyboard, in your findings, proof of concept, you're talking about all these accounts that you created. Did you clean those up? And the guys kind of look back at each other. Like, did you? I think I did one or two of them, but yeah, they didn't clean up any of those accounts hardly. So now they're having to go back through their notes, find out all the systems that they had touched, all the accounts that they had created, and send that off to the customer. Here, the end of the story is that the customer is very happy with the report. They're just very unhappy with the follow-through with it, with engagement. Cleaning up after yourself, ensuring things are cleaned up, making sure you tidy up or at least document every place that you create an account or upload a reverse shell. In that case, if you can't get in there and fix it, at least it's all documented that you can give the customer and say, look, something came up, we couldn't get in there and clean this up due to whatever reason. Here it is. If you wish to go in there and clean it up yourself, please feel free to do so. We apologize. So, yeah. And ultimately, if you have a tool that you're running that may upload a payload, make sure it has a way to auto-delete itself or clean up after itself if the connection is lost, something like that, for a pen test. Now, if you're doing a red team, something like that, where you're wanting to upload a reverse shell, persistent listener, something like that, that's a totally different environment. But a standard pen test, we're there to be consultants. We're there to be the good guys. So try to clean up after yourselves. It's always it's the annoying part of it too, along with like reporting, is making sure everything's nice and clean. But it's part of our job, and it helps us build a great relationship with the customer. So thank you all for listening to this little story here. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. And as always, please hit the like button below if you did enjoy it, and hit subscribe if you'd like to be updated to new episodes as they come out. And have a great day. Thank you.